So now we have got our supplies, we have traced our pattern, we have colored our pattern. Now we need to decide, do we want to do embroidery or do we want to just use some Sharpie, color Sharpies, or even black Sharpie to do our outline? Well, I am going to do the embroidery part. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 stitches that you're going to have to do to complete all 3 of these snowmen. They're very simple. We have a back stitch, we have a French knot, and we have a lazy daisy stitch. Very simple stitches. You can choose to embroider all in black and give it the black outline, or as you can see here, I did the color to match the crayon technique. So either way, hello and welcome. I am Jackie with Jackie Russell Creates, where we talk about everything quilting and sewing. I give tips, tricks, and techniques so you can conquer that next sewing and quilting project. So as we get our supplies and our floss ready, why don't you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know the next time I upload a new technique. So let's get started. So now you have all of your pieces colored, the crayons are set in, and now you're ready to do the next thing. So you have a choice of embroidery, or you can use the Sharpie, and this Sharpie gives a little bigger detail or line, so you could use it and draw in your details if you don't want to do the embroidery, and it will give you that little thicker line. You can embroider just like this, put it in a hoop and embroider just like this, or you can do the embroidery as part of your quilting and do kind of like a quilt as you go, and you would finish it up that way. I'm going to embroider just on these, and then when I go to finish it, I go around it and it gives it more depth. So now let's talk about the embroidery and the different stitches that you're going to be using. We're going to be using a leaf stitch, a French knot, and a back stitch. So I think I can show on this one and be able to get all the stitches in. So we need to pick the floss that we want to use. You can use black and just outline the whole thing all in black, or you can go with the way I'm going to go, and I'm going to have green for the leaves, blue for the birds, a gray to go around the snowman, red, orange, and red. So let's go pick out our floss that we want to use, and let's get started. Okay, I like to use a hoop when I do embroidery. You can use a stretcher. So I'm using DMC floss, and I like to use 2 strands of it. It comes in 6 strands, and I just separate. You thread your needle, and then you're going to come, we're going to do a back stitch. So you're going to come up at a point, then you're going to go down. You're going to just make little small stitches. You're going to come back up a little ways ahead, and then you're going to go back down that same stitch, and you're going to come backwards. So you're going to come up ahead and down backwards, and that's going to be your straight stitch. That's going to be the majority of your design, is continuing the back stitch where we put the little dots. That's a different stitch, and the leaves are going to be a different stitch. So to make it a little faster, I go down, and then I just use my finger on the back side to hold the needle, and I just bring it forward a little bit and pull up, so that I'm just not having to go over under. Now when you get ready for a curve, you want to do a little smaller stitch to make it a flawless or a more even uniform curve. So all we're doing is following the line that we used on the marker. Now you can see why we like the Pigma Micron, because it leaves such a thin line that when you're embroidering over it, it covers it up. Now make sure your fabric stays nice and tight. If you have it too loose, you can end up with ripples and bumps in your embroidery. Now, if you had the multi-colored or different colored markers, you could just outline this if you wanted, or you could use this same black if you didn't want to do the embroidery part of it. To start, if you're going on a straight edge, you could do a little bigger stitches, but you don't want to do the whole edge as one stitch. Now to finish off, I just take and run my needle underneath a couple of those stitches. I'll go one direction, and then I'll go back down, and that just kind of helps set that thread in so it don't come out on you. Give it a little snip. And there is the heart using the back stitch. And now we're going to use or make a French knot, so down the little dots that we made. And I'm going to use black for the eyes, the buttons, so when I go to start, I thread my needle, I do a little knot. Some people say you're not supposed to, but it has not affected my, I just have a little knot at the end. So to do a French knot, you're going to come up. I like to wrap it around my needle 2 times. You can wrap it 3 times. So I'm just going over my needle twice, making sure my thread is still tight, and I'm going to push it back down that same hole and pull it tight. So we're going to come up, wrap it twice, and go back down. And that's going to give you a little French knot. So to wrap, you can wrap 3 times. This is what it will look like. It's just going to give you a little bigger knot. Is all. So when you don't have a place to end, like we did on the heart, you would just leave a little string and then catch it with something next to it, or wrap it in once you find or get to a spot that you can. I'm just moving it over to my beak because I want the beak to be black, and I'm just doing a straight stitch on his beak. And then we're going to do his eye as a French knot. Another way that you can tie off, if you have a string in the back, I will pull it under a couple. I will wrap it around my thread or my needle and pull it, and that's going to give a little knot at the back, and I do that twice. And that will secure that thread down. Now I'm going to move up here to the top where we left some of those leaf. And in our picture, you can see the leaf right there. Just little dashes. You'll be able to see it in your thing. So for that, you know, all we did was put that little dot for it. So what I'm gonna do is I have some variegated green, and that's what I'm going to use. So when you go to get your length of thread, you don't have to have it too long. I like to have it about the length of my arm. And then this is how I separate the floss. I get one strand and I just pull it out. I don't know if you can see. See that? And then I'll get a second strand and just pull it out. And then I put the ends together and then thread my needle, and that's how I do my double strands. Okay, so to do the leaf, you're going to start at the branch. You're going to bring it all the way up. I like to bring it forward. You're going to go back down that same spot, but you're going to hold it and leave a loop. And then you're going to come up where that dot is that you made, inside the loop. So then when you pull the loop, it's on the string, and then you're going to go back down over the outside of the loop. So here's my loop, and I'm going on the outside of it in that same dot, and then you're going to pull it tight. And that's going to give you a little loop in there to make it look like a leaf. So we're going to come up. I use my other hand to hold. Go down that same spot, leaving a loop. Come up where we made the dot. Go over the loop, back down that dot. And there is just a little leaf for his coming out of his head. So I'll do a couple more here. And that is the basic of your stitches that you have to use to embroider these 3 snowmen. Then when you're finished, you can trim it to size of whatever block or design that you are making. And quilt and bind it just like you would a normal quilt for a small project. You'd put your batting, your background fabric, and quilt how you like. When I do embroidery, how I like to quilt is in the background, and then I also will take and do just around the edges, because that will help give the design to pop a little more. Now, if you were very good at free motion quilting, you could actually do your free motion quilting around the design instead of the embroidery. But I like to sit at night and watch TV and do the embroidery.
So here are the 3 designs that you get in this class. You can find more make more. You can make these into a mug rug. You can make them into a wall hanging by adding some sashing in between, some borders. You can also make them into a large quilt. So here are some final tips that I have. When you are doing your embroidery, you want to make sure that you look to see what is on top or in the foreground versus in the background. So we're going to take this design, for example. We know the bird is in front of the snowman, so we want to make sure that we do the bird in whatever color and then the snowman. You don't want to take the snowman color and go around the bird. Same with the birdhouse. Another example would be his arms. This arm we know is behind because of the way he's standing, and then this one's on top. So you wanted to make sure you go the brown around and then not do this line right here in brown because that's the snowman. You can also put in extra detail with your embroidery. So on the nose, the pattern just shows it as per se the carrot shape. Well, I went in and made little dash marks for dimension on the nose. Hopefully you can see that. So then when you're ready to sew this together, whatever you want your finished block to be, you can trim it down, leaving your 1/4 inch for your seam allowance on each side, and then add your fabric. Another cute idea for these would make them into pictures. Like you can attach this into a picture frame and have 4 or 3 different pictures hanging down the wall. So I hope you enjoyed this class and you learned a lot from it. It's a great fun technique. You can use it with any embroidery, any outline design. They also make quilt patterns as well. But it's a fun, easy technique. Until then, happy quilting, my friends. So I hope you enjoyed making these 3 snowmen. And let me know, how many did you make? I've done 4.
but you can definitely find more online. So let me know. And if you want to see how we finish these up into a cute wall hanging, hit that subscribe button, because it will be the next video I upload. So until then, happy quilting, my friends.